Let me ask you something. Do you remember Djinnworks and Trinity Interactive? If your answer to either of these was yes, then I'd assume your next one is, where are they? These were rather significant companies in the mobile game space, but now I don't hear about them anymore, nor do I see any of their games on app stores. Both of these companies made really great games, and have quite some obscure ones. So let's look into the full track record of both of these companies and see where they are now. Djinnworks was founded in 2009 by Robert Zellini. Based in Austria, the company develops a plethora of sports games that were available in the iOS and Google Play Store. Their most notable series, though, was the Stickman franchise. This was a lineup of simplified sports games that were fast, fun, and had a ton of content. Each of these games had teams by the state, except for soccer, which had them by the country, with some pretty unique designs. Somewhat. Stickman Football was their American football game where you go head to head against opponents. You can run, pass, tackle, and kick in games as short as 4 minutes and as long as 15. It had multiple game modes, and each team had colors relative to their logo. Stickman Soccer was their football game with a large field and fast-paced gameplay. They also had some pretty cool victory celebrations. It follows a similar formula with the game modes and the team colors. Stickman Tennis was their angle-based tennis game that required strategy and quick thinking. Since the game isn't really team-based, you just had different players with different stats. This game, in my opinion, is the hardest in the series. Stickman Basketball was their basketball game where you shoot, block, and slam dunk on the sticks. Wait, hold on. Stickman Volleyball was their hard-hitting beach ball game with a lot of ball jokes. Stickman Skate Battle was a skate game where you move between cones and perform all kinds of tricks. From ollies to kickflips to rail grinding, you could do a lot. You could also crash really hard. This was a newer game in the series, so it doesn't have the same design as the others. All of these games have multiple seasons and tournaments, each with their own unique cups and game modes. Like Stickman Football having the Bowl and Future Football, Stickman Volleyball having an outer space mode and World Tour, and Stickman Basketball having a street mode. Stickman Ski Racer was their ski game where you flip and jump through mountains, avalanches, and hills. Stickman Trick Soccer was a game that's a mixture of both golf and soccer. Stickman Disc Golf Battle was their disc golf game that was a complete L because it's disc golf. The stick games were the Stickman version of the Olympics. Stickman Ice Hockey was their hockey game with 46 teams, brutal hits, and the option to have offside and icing rules. There's an older version of Stickman Tennis and soccer, and a new version of Stickman Basketball, although it's not that good, and it's not because there's women in it. There's also a newer version of Stickman Ski. Djinnworks also made a lot of Stickman driving games. They all consisted on an endurance mechanic. Stickman Downhill was a mountain biking game where you speed up and slow down to avoid a rather brutal crash landing. There were multiple different bikes you could use with different capabilities. The rest of the games also follow a similar structure. Stickman Downhill Motocross was a motorized version of the original Downhill that gets faster and more intense. Stickman Downhill Monster Trucks takes an even bigger twist, with the game boasting huge monster trucks with even bigger crashes. Stick Stunt Biker 2 takes a dark spin on the motocross game where it's harder to see. Djinnworks also had this series called Stickman Rope and Fly. The series is about attaching a rope to a building and swinging to the end of the level. They're all pretty much the same, but Rope and Fly 3 has a real person instead of a stickman, and I couldn't find the original Rope and Fly game anywhere. The company also made a bunch of other games that aren't a part of a series. Wingsuit Stickman is about gliding through the mountains and hills to reach the finish line. Stickman Base Jumper is a game where you jump off of a building and aim to land on the flag. Sticklings is a puzzle game where you lead a bunch of stickmen to the goal by adding and blowing up certain parts of the platform. Stickman Battlefield was a war game where you play as Private John Smith and have to shoot at any and everything. Stickman Roof Runner was a game where you jump across multiple roofs as long as possible. Stickman Impossible Run was a very similar game, but the levels will get harder and harder as you played. Stickman Dreamer is an endless runner, but you're sleeping. Ooh. Stickman Golf Battle was their PvE golf game. All of these games aren't available in app stores anymore. And something interesting about a lot of these games is that they weren't afraid to show death. Like in their driving series, your character was able to be dismembered in multiple ways. Same thing could be said in the Rope and Fly series. You can break your bones in the Wingsuit Stickman game, and I don't think I need to explain what happens when you jump off of a building. I'm not entirely sure why they were removed. They seem to have some sort of partnership with Miniclip as well, since they feature some games on their webpage. There isn't anything out there that lets me know that the company is completely bankrupt, but none of their games are on the App Store, so I don't really know what happened with them. There's a possibility that Miniclip bought them out, but there's no hard evidence of that. Either way, this company made a lot of great games. Some of these I've never even seen before. There aren't a lot of games out there that do it better than they did. In fact, there aren't really a lot that do it at all. They made something really special. Kinda sucks that it's gone now. Trinity Interactive was also founded in 2009. The Shanghai-based company is well known for the Call of Mini games. Call of Mini takes place in the world of Pixel, where a zombie outbreak occurs, and you, Joe Blow, must blast and cut your way through the horde. Levels are known as days, and after 5 of them, a boss appears for you to take down, and doing so will earn you crystals. There's a bunch of maps such as warehouse, residential area, underground bow lab, smoldering ruins, hospital, arena, and more. There's also tons of skins to pick, from Nerd, Doctor, SWAT Soldier, Priest, Eskimo, Charlemagne, Mike, and others. You can play as a priest. That's pretty cool. And there's a plethora of weapons to use, like the M4, P90, Winchester, Chainsaw, RPG, Light Sword, Dragon Breath, Pixel RPG, Longinus, and a whole lot more. It may be Longinus, but Longinus sounds funnier. You can equip a bunch of boosters to help you, like an HP potion, cloaking potion, huge potion, and other items. You can also upgrade your weapons to take on zombies easier, because they definitely get stronger. The game is really fun. I don't like that you have to buy ammo since the levels do get more difficult to beat, but other than that, this was one of the most fun zombie shooter mobile games ever. And if I'm being honest, nothing comes close to it. Call of Mini 2 was a slightly improved sequel where the zombies want to run it back and you can dunk on them for a second time. The game features engaging environments and real-time lighting effects. It's pretty great, but the zombies are unbelievably hard. I couldn't even get past level 2. It's a nice sequel overall, removing the bad stuff from the previous game and keeping what was good. I just wish it wasn't incredibly difficult. You pretty much have to lose until you have enough money to upgrade to where you start winning. Also, Mike is somebody you're gonna see a lot in these games. Call of Mini Dino Hunter takes the series back 65 million years, where instead of zombies, you fight dinosaurs in an attempt to meet your father's expectations. There's a different set of weapons that fit the time, new bosses, and a ton of quests to complete. It's essentially like the other games, it just had a different skin, but it's still pretty good. Those Triceratops were kinda OP though. Call of Mini Double Shot is a continuation of the original story where the infection has reached the small town of Lakeside. You're a truck driver who runs into a cop just in the nick of time, and as the only survivors, you mow your way through the zombified citizens. There's customizable characters and 500 levels. You could fight with your friends or take on levels as a hired mercenary. This was my favorite game in the entire series. I loved this game back then, and I would play it on my Kindle all the time. I was able to play it, but the controls were super weird, so it was really hard to move around. I'm not sure if it's an age thing between the game and my phone, or if the game was just genuinely like that after it got updated, but I'm willing to believe the former. Overall, it's great, and I used to really enjoy this. Call of Mini Sniper is about a corporation testing bioweapons that went south and turned the subjects into zombies. You play as Sheriff Murde Vista, who protects the remaining survivors by sniping each zombie that gets in his way. There's new guns and gear that you can use to make big explosions as well. I couldn't play this game since my device is too new, but it seems to be as fun as the other games. A lot more heart-pounding since it's stationary too. Call of Mini Brawlers takes a different angle to the series where it focuses on more engaging combat. You would push through the levels with guns and melee weapons. I'm not that big of a fan of this game, to be honest. I wouldn't say it's bad, I just prefer third person with these types of games. It's a decent change up though. Call of Mini Infinity was their Halo-inspired TPS where the Earth is about to collide with a meteorite and you need to lead your army to a new planet. Call of Mini Battlefield is a reenactment of World War II that's a little too on the nose. Yeah, I'm not surprised the game is gone. Call of Mini Squad is about you and your team scavenging for resources and fighting the zombie horde head on. The game couldn't connect to a server though, so I wasn't able to play it. Although Call of Mini was their hit series, there's a lot of other unknown games Trinity Interactive made. Mini Carnival was a game where you created your own character and played various mini games. There were 11 game modes: Treasure Hunt, Castle Defense, Capture the Flag, Parkour, Crazy Rockets, The Hunger, RPG, Flappy Rocket, Fishing, Tank Wars, and Guns and Swords. And there were tons of power-ups you can use in those games. This game seems to be a cult classic. I know a lot of people asked me to cover it. Maybe if it took the Roblox angle, it probably could have survived, but who knows. Overall, it seems fun. I'm kind of mad that I missed out on it. Tiny Legends was a series of games presented in the Tiny Player style. Tiny Legends Monster Crasher was about a boy wandering about in a cavern and accidentally removing the seal containing a dragon that looks to destroy the entire town. Tiny Legends Crazy Night was a game where you fought a multitude of monsters to save the distant continent of Chromodor. Tiny Legends Heroes was the sequel where the Dark Lord has risen and locked away your homeland's greatest champions, and you have to take him down once and for all. You could buy and sell gear, learn skills, and hire heroes. Is that cheap labor? I think I like this game. Devil Dark was a different styled game about an old king releasing a plague of evil that you have to destroy. Dungeon Crashers is a hand-drawn game about a knight stepping out of the shadows to save humankind from bloodthirsty monsters. Dino Cap 3 Survivors is an alternate reality where the dinosaurs were not wiped out and evolved alongside humans. You had to protect yourself and clear them from your city. Heroes vs Monsters is a 2D hack and slash where you defeat monsters to gain powerful skills. Warcon Gauntlet was about a soldier getting too deep in a basic recon mission. You had to run and gun through the various traps, enemies, and pits. Ice Sniper Arctic Warfare is an iteration of the series about renowned sniper Glue Miller. There isn't much I could find about this game or the others in the series. Mini Glider is about a nerd escaping a zombie-filled city by reaching for the stars. You had to use items like jetpacks, wings, and gliders to stay in the air as long as possible. Kung Fu Warrior is about a hero looking to avenge his master who was killed by a group of ninjas who burned, looted, and R-worded the people of the village. Yeah, it actually says that in the description. Wow. Use stick items and deadly drops alongside your honed kung fu moves to fight your way to victory. Action Truck is a fast-paced driving game where you escape the cops through more than 200 levels with different weather conditions and terrains. I was able to play the game, but the dead zones on the controls were so big I couldn't accelerate. It seemed to have been really fun though, so I wish I was able to. There isn't any information as to why this company is gone. They just disappeared. They left a final note under the description of all their games saying, "For 10 years, Trinity Interactive Studios have published 150 games on mobile platforms. Out of gratitude for your long support, we decided to bring the most popular games in the past back on the Google Store. What's more, all in-app purchases of these games are now free. In other words, all players can enjoy the full content of the games for free. Have a good time and enjoy." A little while later, they were gone. This was true for some of their games, with others I still had to pay. This leads me to believe that they went bankrupt in some way, and as a final hurrah, they did this, but unless told otherwise, we'll never know. These two companies made some pretty good games. Both had their fair share of obscure titles that were hit or miss, but ultimately interesting. They hold up pretty well for the most part. More so the more popular ones. They're fun, engaging, and incredibly great time killers. The mobile game space is oversaturated with short-term come-and-go apps, but these were part of a time where mobile games were pretty good across the board. There definitely are some good ones out there, but I'm not sure if they'll have the same impact as these did.